Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Take Us Seriously podcast. I'm DJ.
It's your boy O.
And today we're going to be talking about week 9, some of the highlights, some of the topics and everything that we got set for you guys today. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to a friend if you guys like what you guys are hearing. Now, let's talk about something. We're not going to talk about the Texans. We're also not going to talk about some of these other teams, these lowly teams that we could, like the Broncos. Not as much. We got to start this thing off talking about these Colts because I don't quite understand it. So Jim Irsay decided to say, you know what? Hold my beer. And while you at it, hold my cocaine as well, because this man is wild. So you're going to turn around and hire a first-time coach, no further coaching experience outside of high school. So I don't know what this is looking like right now.
I ain't got nothing to go off on this one. I thought this was a straight shot out of left field to go and be like, you know what, Jeff Saturday, great football player, but bruh, he ain't got no track record
at all, none at all. I mean, we can go down the list. I mean, we got here. We'll just go by the threes. Matt Ryan. Okay. You guys go ahead and bench him. All right. So that's fine. And then 2, offensive coordinator gets let go. Okay. That's all right. That's a little weird. Whatever. And then turn around and, let's just fire the head coach too. So what are we doing here? Like, we just throwing away the whole season? This don't make no dang sense. I mean, if you guys haven't seen, the ESPN announcers are even shocked, and he was just in the studio with them a week ago.
And honestly, for me, I was more surprised by the firing of Frank Reich than anything. I understand, they thought they'd been in their window prior to this season, but in reality, until last year, they didn't really have the roster together.
I don't get it. I mean, so you give Frank Reich 7 quarterbacks in 5 years, and you think it's just gonna work? Like, what are we doing? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, you give him the corpse that is Matt Ryan, at the end of his tenure. So you don't have him now, and then you turn around and you keep switching up the playbooks then, because you've got to build an offense for a particular quarterback every year. So we're gonna build a playbook for Matt Ryan. We're gonna build a playbook for Carson Wentz. We're gonna build a playbook for whoever came before then. It's like, come on now, like this just isn't a way an organization runs when you're trying to be successful. This doesn't work that way. And then on top of that, like I just mentioned, the offensive, the OC, you go ahead and let him go now too. So it's like, okay, so you hire a guy that was the assistant quarterbacks coach to call your plays. You don't have anyone active on the roster that could build an offense. So it's like, what are we really doing here? Like, do you guys really think this is gonna work, or y'all just out here for fun?
Probably setting them to go back into rebuild.
Yeah, well, looks like we're going to be seeing the wasteful years of Jonathan Taylor this year. But also, to make matters even worse, Jim Irsay, he loves him some Jeff Saturday as much as he loves cocaine and alcohol. I gotta rehash on this. I mean, he's out here ranting about analytics. He's out here ranting about the fact that, you got to have the courage to, go out and hire somebody that, you think is going to work for you. And, you got to, fortune favors the bold, all that kind of jazz and nonsense. It's like, all right, like, this isn't going to work the way that you think it is. I mean, just because we think that it's going to work, or just because you think you're going to manifest it into something, doesn't mean that this is going to turn into anything. I mean, come on now.
Hey, I'm convinced that like a solid 50% of the people in control of sports franchises don't know anything.
Hey, I can't knock that. But I will say that, earthquakes are unpredictable too. And just like an earthquake, hey, when it happens, you can see it coming, and we can see a bad hiring when we see one. I got to start something again, and you know where I'm going. Trevor Lawrence. I know you don't believe in him, but I'm here to tell you, you should believe in him. And I don't believe in Mac, because I'm telling you right now, Trevor Lawrence showed something last game. He showed some maturity. He showed some ability, some poise in the pocket. I know you shaking your head right now. And I know you're going to point out the fumble, because the fumble happened in the game. But you know what? That fumble wasn't his fault. That fumble happened when he was driving down the field close to the red zone, And hey, when his teammates don't come through for him, when his teammates don't come through for him, I can't knock him too much because he's still moving his way through and he's making things happen.
Okay.
And I'll tell you one other thing though, just real quick. Mac Jones, he doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have the special talent to make those throws that I saw Trevor make this last weekend. I'm seeing a tendency to take too long to get through progressions from time to time. I'm seeing a guy that's throwing about his numbers look decent from a percentage standpoint, like that 65%. But I see a guy that's in the 20s, maybe 15 to 20 at best. And from all this, I'm seeing a guy that's just really taking circumstances from a great run game, good defense. What was we just talking about before with, with that other quarterback? At times, I'm seeing a guy take advantage of that. That's throwing the tight ends in the middle of zones. That's getting wide receiver screens and being able to get some easy yards, not having to really work for the plays.
Trevor Lawrence not doing that?
No, not the clip he's going.
But you're gonna sit here and tell me Trevor not doing it though?
I'm not at all, but I'm just saying he's not doing it at the same rate.
You said though. Yeah, you recount it to defend yourself.
I mean, every play gets ran in the playbook from time to time.
There's more. What has Trevor Lawrence done in the games he's supposed to win, or the games where he's ahead and in control?
He time to time makes mistakes. It's growing pains.
Like, the comeback win last week against the abysmal Raiders.
Hey, you got to win the games.
Great performance. No, I'm not. This is this specific instance. No slide. Great game, 25 of 31, 235, touchdown, a fumble. He played well. Game against Denver, 18 of 31, 133, one touchdown, two interceptions. Game against New York, 22 of 43, 310, no scores, and a fumble. Game against Indy, 20 of 22, 165, one touchdown. Keep in mind, all three of these have been losses.
They have. But let's not forget, in that Denver game, yes, he was trying to be Superman too much. It's 1st and goal on the 1. I need Doug Peterson to go ahead and call a play that's going to protect his quarterback more. We know he's young. We know he's immature. Run the ball. Run it a couple times. Travis Etienne's been gashing you down the field the whole game at this point. Give him the ball. Reward your running back. So that one, yes, Trevor made the mistake, but a coach has got to protect him as well. Against the Giants, it was actually looking pretty good. It's just there's incompletions that are happening on key third downs. They're getting penalties when they're marching down the field, and it's taking that momentum away from the team. Yes, there could always be an excuse for every single circumstance. I just see a guy that can make the throws, that can drop the ball in the bucket, and has the tools and has the gifts to do so. I don't see that from Mac.
I don't think Mac has top end arm talent. But in regards to quarterback abilities, that's the only one that I think Mac lacks.
Well, I'll tell you another quarterback that I don't think has top end arm talent, and these Vikings. Now, I know Kirk Cousins, and that everybody's been giving him the good old with him getting the chains and being a culture cousin.
He was in there getting loose.
Yeah, they were. But Kirk Cousins, it was a good showing. He took some shots in that game and he rallied them. But let's not act like this Vikings team is for real. I don't think they are. Yes, they're a product of the teams that they have to play, which every team is. But when it comes down to it, they're not beating anybody. They're beating the teams that are on the schedule, yes. But I want to see them really get tested here because they really almost lost to this Commanders team. We're not going to act like Taylor Heineke didn't throw a pick when they were up 10 and then let the team come back into striking distance.
Also not going to act like the ref didn't run into Harrison Smith on a guaranteed pick.
Hey, that's fine. Plays happen. Things happen in the game. But let's also just not undermine how this game was going. Kirk wasn't able to have much success at certain times in this game, and circumstances played the way that they did. Hey, he had his shots. He capitalized on his shots, but I don't think this team is really that for real.
I disagree. I think the Vikings are probably going to come out second in NFC. Personally, I don't see any team that I like better than the Vikings.
But why?
I have a hard time. So, because look at the rest of the NFC. Who's there to truly believe in? You got
Niners.
not with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm.
Okay.
We've seen that. We've seen what he do.
The
He
Cowboys.
who
The Cowboys.
with Dak,
Hey, I'm just throwing team names out there.
Mister I love to play from behind.
So why else do you think that this Vikings team is for real? Why do you think that they can do it?
I think because of that top end offensive talent, the defense is playing real team deep, and it's something that I can appreciate. It's something that you don't see a lot in teams anymore. So a lot of teams are affected by that top end talent, so to speak. Like prime example, look at the Rams. The Rams defense right now is meh at best because those top end talents are aging.
And not playing to their potential.
Yeah, but if you go look at Minnesota, yeah, they got Zadarius Smith. Everybody else just out there playing football, and they play.
All I'm gonna say is I don't think Kirk Cousins in his 8-pack is gonna mess around and keep going ahead and getting these dubs. I don't see this playing out the way that everybody thinks. I see a team that's gonna be a one and done in the playoffs. They're gonna get there. They might win one game and then lose in the next. I wouldn't be surprised if they were upset, depending on who their matchup is in the first in that first week. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I think the talent level of Minnesota is enough to compete with just about anybody.
I don't see a team that's ready and actually seasoned enough to win that game either. Because I don't see a team that's buttoned up by this rookie coach that's actually prepared and ready to go win out a knockout drag out fight.
The only thing I'll say about Minnesota that kind of still bothers me is as much as last year I blamed Mike Zimmer for the way their offensive philosophy panned out towards the end of the season, where they had those games where they were up 14, up 21, and were blowing games. We're still seeing some of that, and it's starting to bother me. I don't know. I'm starting to believe it wasn't Mike Zimmer's philosophy causing it, but the difference is we're seeing them pull the games out this year.
All I know is I saw a fourth down personal foul that ended up resulting in points being made for the other team in this last game against the Commanders. I've seen too many situations happen like that against these Vikings where it's like the circumstance falls their way, but eventually that coin's going to flip on its head.
For sure. But you can say the same thing about New York.
Good. Very well. But I still don't like the Vikings.
I respect your opinion. I mean,
yeah. But that's enough, though, on the Vikings. Did you see Justin Fields yesterday?
Listen, bro, I could sit here and slander Justin Fields all day. I can pack that man up and ship him out right now if I wanted to. But what I will say is that he's trending in a positive direction. He don't got my support. Neither does his organization, but he is trending up. He's not showing significant maturation, but the offense as a whole is moving in the right direction, primarily stemming from his legs, not necessarily his arm talent, but he's utilizing the weapons available to him.
I am going to bury him because I said that Justin Fields is not all that. What I will agree with you on is that he is trending up. He's in the middle of a good little streak right now. But I see a guy that takes too many hits. I see a guy that, yes, he makes plays from outside of the pocket. I don't see a guy that's processing in the moment. I don't see a guy that's going through his reads, getting through those windows the way he needs to. I see a guy that's getting out the pocket. He's making throws down the field. I see a guy that's making up plays with his legs, kind of in a way at times, kind of like how they used to talk about Lamar. But the difference is I don't see a guy that has the ability to actually sit in there and throw from the pocket. I don't know if he'll actually ever get there. Not with this team, not with the Bears. The Bears, I don't think they're going to progress quick enough actually to see the fruits of their labor. I see a guy that's going to be a bust at the Bears organization. I don't see a guy this isn't sustainable. You can do this for a couple years maybe, but eventually the defense will catch up to you and the hits will start to hurt a little bit more.
So do you think Justin Fields doesn't have the talent, or do you think that it's the organization itself that's limiting his overall ability and growth?
I think it's a little bit of a combination of both, but I lean more on the fact that I think that he doesn't necessarily have the talent because I don't know if he has And I know they say the whole thing that, like they say the black quarterbacks aren't smart enough. I'm not getting at that. I just don't see a guy that was ever taught how to read defenses. Ohio State does not do that. They've shown that throughout the years. So if this is a guy that I'm pretty sure wasn't really taught how to read defenses, how to get through his reads and everything, if I see a guy that already has a pretty long wind up throw as it is, why am I to think that he's going to pick up on it in the next year or two, before defenses catch up to this system that they're running now? I mean, eventually you take enough hits and that thing that made you special is going to dwindle. And at that point, you're just not that talented anymore. You're just another guy.
Can't argue that. Like I said, I'm not on his side.
Yeah, well, that's and man, this is a good one. Malik Willis. I don't like the man. I don't like. I wish he would have stayed at Liberty another year because, ooh, he's got insurance checks that he is just not able to cash right now. Malik Willis can't throw. He can't
Great.
throw across the middle. He can't throw between the hashes. The only two plays I say positive that he did was deep down the sideline on the right and deep down the sideline on the left, and it was both man coverage because the offense is Derek. Derek, crown that man Henry.
Listen, I'm okay with taking some disrespect, but you saying he can't throw,
Not right now.
there's nothing to prove that. You have literally nothing to back your statement because
I saw 5 completions.
yes, but the fact that he didn't throw over the middle doesn't prove that he can't do it.
I see that he chooses to not do it.
What I'm seeing is that he made the decision to throw the ball to his first read because he knew he could make the throw, and he decided to take his check down after that. That's what I see. What I watched from Malik Willis was a very solid arm talent. Does he necessarily have the touch to place those balls in the middle of the field? I don't know. But I saw he had the touch to drop them bitches right over the back shoulder, right on that outside shoulder with his receiver or tight end streaking up the field to where they didn't have to turn or lunge. Balls were placed right in the basket. Ball was placed perfectly to the sideline where only his receiver could make a play on it. And I see a quarterback that the system is playing to limit his effect on the game and allow him to grow week to week.
I like all that, but bring back Ryan Tannehill until he learns how to do that at a better level.
I agree. I'm not saying that it's time for Malik Willis to take the reins. But shit, if Marcus Mariota can be a starting quarterback in the NFL, Malik Willis can.
The disrespect to Marcus Mariota continues. Either way, Ryan Tannehill right now is the better option. I think he is a better talent. I think that I'd rather have Tannehill.
I almost said some wild shit, but
I'd rather have Tannehill than have Malik Willis. I'm just gonna say that because
you say talent, you're crazy.
I think he can run similarly. I don't think he's that much better of an athlete than he is. I really don't. We forget that Ryan Tannehill was a wide receiver in college at some point.
Turn this shit off.
Hey, all I know is Ryan Tannehill can do everything that he can do, and he can run almost as good as he can. So I'm good with him.
Close.
But other than that, we got another AFC team, another game that nobody really watched. This Falcons versus the Chargers. We just wanted to highlight this and just let you guys know there was some wild stuff that happened in this game. If y'all thought that Panthers-Falcons game was wild a couple weeks ago, this game was weird. Like Khalil Mack ended up taking the ball from Drake London, and while he was about to fall into the end zone, and then turn around and Austin Eckler is about to score on a touchdown barrel roll, and won't you know it, it gets called back because his elbow hit the ground. And then plays later, Austin Eckler is going down the field, fumbles the ball, and then a defensive tackle, big man run, about to turn into a big man touchdown, and he just fumbles without getting touched. It's like this is weird. This doesn't happen very often.
You know what's crazy though, man? Like, I feel like all of these nut ass games happen when the Falcons is on television.
That's a good point.
Like it's a common denominator week to week, bro. Like everybody's like, damn, this crazy ass game. Who's playing? Atlanta.
Well, I guess it couldn't happen to better franchises in terms of scoring franchises because we all know the Chargers, they got fair weather fans. They didn't even probably know this happened. So that is what it is. And then the Falcons, they still hurting from 28-3 from 2018. So it is what it is. They whatever can go wrong will go wrong for some of these teams because they just expect it to go bad.
Straight facts.
This is a segment where we'll talk about teams that they're just bad. We've been telling y'all for weeks that they're bad, but now's the time to cook them because they're done. We all know they're done. We're not playing with them no more. For this first team, it's these Packers. Man, it's been a bad run. It seems like a bad batch of Packers this year because you look at the two-time MVP and Aaron Rodgers. Everybody was thinking, oh, Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that. We thought he was going to figure it out. This man wouldn't figure nothing out except how to get more ayahuasca because that's the only thing high in the standings for them right now. Then you look at those wide receivers. They running the wrong routes for him. He's throwing to the wrong spots. They deserve some blame. They got Rashawn Gary going out on the defense. They can't do nothing right. They can't even run the ball. But hey, these Packers, they're cooked.
You ain't gonna get no pushback on that one from me. I think it's about time for Green Bay to go back start from scratch. I ain't saying Jordan Love the answer, but Aaron Rodgers obviously ain't it either.
Yeah, the only thing I can put a little bit of sprinkle on top of it all is this is the same team that just went up against a Lions defense that was abysmally bad. This team was on pace for one of the worst defenses of all time. Aaron Rodgers had 9 points against them. He threw 3 red zone interceptions against them. This team might as well pack it up, pack it in, because it's time to cook the Packers.
For sure.
And for another team, I know I said we wasn't going to talk much about the Broncos, but I couldn't resist because now it's time for them to get cooked. This is a Broncos team that is just bad, man. I can't stand to watch how bad Russ has been. This defense is playing at a ridiculous pace. I mean, I would probably say they have the best cornerback in the league on their roster right now, in Patrick Surtain. But nobody really knows it because they lose most of their games. And most of the time it's because Russ is back there trying to cook. You know, it's because, oh, I'm going to do high knees down the aisleway on the plane. It's just, they're bad, man. Let's call it what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. They're not who we thought that they were. They're bad.
I'll agree with they not who we thought they were. I'll even partially agree to the fact that they're cooked. But I'm middle of the pack with the rest of the spots in the AFC potentially being wide open right now, especially the way all of these divisions are kind of head to head. If hypothetically, keyword big I, big F, caps and italicized, they turn it around, could be better days ahead. Could. I'm not sold.
All I'm going to say, go ahead.
But there's potential. That's all I'm saying.
All right, that's fine. You can go ahead with your potential. But all I'm going to say is Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson lead the league in cliche lines. That's all I know for sure. Because from the doing the high knees in the middle of the aisle to the, oh, I drink I got Wolverine blood in me. I heal quick. I mean, come on, man. This man also went on to say, we're going to work hard and get it going. We are going to stay tight and continue working hard. We got to look in the mirror and get better. Man, stop with these cliche lines. Y'all trash. You can't see over the offensive line. You can't throw to people that are open across the middle of the field. And you can only throw deep. If you just bad, just say that. I'm sorry. And
he's not the corniest in the league. I'm not arguing that point. Just saying no. Overall talent, the Broncos got it. They got more talent than some of the teams with winning records in the league.
It's funny you mentioned talent, though, because this is the same team that just traded probably their best defender, at least top 2 defender on their team, to the Dolphins in their conference, in Bradley Chubb. I get it. They can say that they didn't want to pay him, all this, that, and the third. But I'm sorry. You don't trade a guy that you think is an elite pass rusher. That's what you get them for, so that you can win a Super Bowl, so that you can prepare for that. You can't just give away your best teams and think that that means that you're preparing for a winning season.
I think that defense is so good that it'll continue to keep them in games enough to where maybe they might pull some of these games out. Because at the end of the day, that roster on both sides of the ball is good enough to compete with just about anybody. It's just up to Russ. And he ain't been giving us anything to work with, but you never know.
So that's it for them. Now let's get going over to the fantasy segment. You know what? One more thing, because I just can't help but to piggyback more and more on Russ. I just can't help. This team only has 3 wins, man. Russ ain't the reason for these wins. It's the defense, to your point.
Thanks.
I just have to I have to make it clear that when you're so bad that Subway pulls off their sandwich off the line because they're like, we see that this stinks. We saw the commercial. Ain't nothing that we can do that we want more than this Danger Witch right now. We got to take this Danger Witch off the shelf because this just isn't working.
Maybe the sandwich was just bad.
The sandwich may be bad. And you know what? That's something that Russell got in common. The sandwich bad. The commercial's bad. Russell's bad. You know what? That's just 3 peas in a pod bad. But you know what? That's enough, though, about the pot segment, because let me make it official. Because these Broncos, as far as I'm concerned, they're cooked. But let's get going over to the fantasy segment. For the fantasy segment today, it's RIP to all of the teams that played against Joe Mixon. Any fantasy owner out there that had to go up against this man.
You know what's crazy? I played against Joe Mixon and still won.
But you know what? To everyone else out there that had to deal with the struggle of going up against Joe Mixon, Doug Martin, 8-9 years ago, was the last time we saw something as ridiculous as what this man just did in fantasy football. It's almost as rare as a solar eclipse occurring is what Joe Mixon just did in fantasy football. This is just outlandish, man. This don't make no sense. It's whoever had to go up against them. I feel bad for your team. I'm sorry for your loss, literally and figuratively in a sense. Just pray to the fantasy guys that you get another win next week.
Also, though, them dudes that had to play against Justin Fields this week, not to say I expect more of the same in the future. I mean, the dude is a prolific athlete.
Like you gave him for Fields right now.
I just said he's a prolific athlete, and I don't expect him to continue. I mean, he's a solid stash away pickup if you got the roster spot for the potential points, or if you're in a 2-quarterback league, by all means, pick him up and start him. But ooh-wee.
Hey, if you want a Tim Tebow on steroids, that's what you want right there is Justin Fields.
If you played him this week,
hey, you probably won if you played him this week. But I'll tell you another thing, though, about Justin Fields. You're going to get your rushing yards. You know what you're going to get there. You won't get a bomb pass here, bomb pass there. You know you're going to get that too. But another guy you can look for is Mecole Hardman. If he's still out there available in your league, Mecole Hardman hurt some people last week, whoever picked him up, because he was going crazy out there.
He's trending more. I say he's trending up. He getting more targets every week.
Yeah, it's starting to look like maybe he's the next Tyreek Hill light, I would say.
Okay. Yeah.
Nah, nobody's a cheetah, but maybe he's just a kitty. Who knows? But Mecole Hardman has been looking pretty good, and he's attached to a good team. So there's a lot of mouths to feed out there. But if you can get somebody that's getting upwards ticking targets at the Chiefs, that's what you want to target. And then last,
another thing that came for the Mecole Hardman situation though is Kansas City been waiting for somebody to blow the top off. They've been looking. That's what their offense has been missing. And now that he's showing that he has that ability, I think regardless of the mouths to feed, so to speak, I think he gives a lot to look forward to, especially with Kansas City getting into the late swing of their schedule, finally finding that comfortability and stability in their offense, going back to traditional Kansas City football. I think Mecole has a lot of upside.
Definitely strike while the iron's hot with Mecole. If you can get him, even if you got to stash him on the bench, do it. Last but not least, we got Jeff Wilson, those people that ended up cutting him after he got traded, I'm sorry for your loss because, ooh, yeah. You know what? Me too. You know, I too stand with you because I did it as well. I was also lost. Now I'm found. But Jeff Wilson, though, at the Dolphins, he's found new life. You know, he leaves one San Fran offense and he goes to another, Shanahan disciple. So now he can run again in his own scheme. So it's been looking pretty good for him ever since the CMC trade. He's found even more value. And hey, finding fantasy football GMs out there, you found yourself another gem for maybe another week. So pick him up if he's still out there for you.
I'm hit or miss on that one. I think it was week 1 of him being in Miami. Miami has definitely been missing a solid run presence with the up and down of Mostert and the very lackluster production from Chase Edmonds. I don't dislike Jeff Wilson. I think he's worth a bench stash, especially if you're in one of those 12-team leagues where running backs are hella scarce, or if you're in just a very aggressive league where most rosters are running back heavy. He's definitely worth a stash.
I will say that it would make it hard though for Chase Edmonds to do anything because now he's at the Broncos now.
Hardcore facts.
That man's out of there. But you know what? That does it for the rest of this week though for us. So come check us out. Please like, comment, subscribe if you guys like what you're doing, what you're hearing here with the Don't Take Us Seriously podcast. I'm DJ.
Oh,
We'll catch you guys at the next one.
peace.